Hi everyone, my name is Goto from Newspeaks. The session today is going to be the biggest theme of Sushi Tech, and you knew that. And we have a special guests today, two of them here on stage. And this session is about the biggest strawberry factory in New York. It's operated 24/7. Super sweet Japan origin strawberries distributed throughout New York. We have a co-founder, CEO of Oishi Farm, Koga-san on stage. Koga-san, if you can speak a little bit, please. Yes. I went to university in Japan. After that, I was working at the consulting firm. And then in 2015, I went to San Francisco, UC Berkeley. During the study, I became an entrepreneur. And then I started the vertical farming in New York, focusing on strawberry. It's been 6-7 years since I launched the vertical farming business. Thank you very much. So Koga-san, the bag you have? Well, from the U.S. Actually, we re-imported the strawberries from the U.S. I brought it here in Japan. You cannot buy this in Japan, of course. You cannot eat nor buy them. If I pay 1 million yen, can I buy and eat? Well, you can try it out for those of you who are sitting in front of us. Next, Kawada-san, Shogo Kawada. He is a co-founder of DNA. And he is also known as an angel investor. For Oishi Farm, he was the very first investor who helped out building Oishi Farm business. Kawada-san, a word please. Hi, my name is Kawada. Good to meet you all. Well, thank you for the introduction. Basically, before that, I was focusing on the mechanical engineering. When I was at university, I got my PhD on that. So I am very interested in technology, especially the hardware. Because of the background, including DNA, I focused a lot on IT industries, but deep in my heart, I was focusing more on the hardware side of the business. And when I saw Koga-san's business idea, I knew it was the one. That's why I decided to become an investor for Koga-san, and I look forward to this conversation today. Thank you very much, Kawada-san. Okay. Well, near New York, there's a huge strawberry factory. I'm sure some of you know, but I think most of you don't know about the factory itself. Koga-san will go take you through a virtual tour of the strawberry factory. This is very first time that you get to see. Okay. So this is the main vertical farming. And our plan is to even operate even a bigger farming facility next. Well, this used to be a beer factory, Budweiser beer factory, and we took over that factory, and then there's no solar coming in. We're using LED as well as AC control to grow strawberries. Size-wise, it's like the size of a soccer stadium. And then it's by layers. It's layered. So this is quite a big farm when you compare that to the conventional farm. It's 15 minutes away from Manhattan. Well, strawberries, you might usually think of farms in LA, and then you usually bring the strawberries from LA, like 5,000 kilometers or so via airplanes. Well, Japan quality strawberries are not really prone for moving via the airplane. It's better to produce the strawberries nearby the consumers. So you saw some robots. Well, it's 24/7 autonomous robots based on all the imageries also taken, and based upon that data, you can predict for the 40-day ahead of time of the production as well. And you can look at the situation because for the pollination purpose, you can control the amount of bee who could fly inside the facility. So with the conventional farming, this is not that easy to do the same thing. So this is more of unique advantage we have to leverage this. And it's a 24/7 operation of the temperature. All you need is a power. It's independent from the weather. So that's another uniqueness. Well, these are usually the main was lettuce. Well, strawberries, tomatoes, you do need a pollination. But usually the bees cannot fly inside the facilities. That was more of a conventional wisdom. But what we did was that we went through R&D so that we wanted to make sure that the bee could fly inside the facility so that there could be a successful pollination. And we were successful having a mass production of strawberries. Thank you. In the States, what kind of stores would sell your strawberries? Mainly in East Coast, 150 stores, major supermarkets, and some of the restaurants handle our strawberries. Boston, Washington, D.C., New York, Philadelphia, all these regions cover our strawberries. Well, how much do your strawberries cost per pack? $9.99 per pack, around $10 per pack. 5 years ago, it used to be $50. So in 5 years, we were able to reduce the pricing to $10 per pack. So you can just wonder how much the pricing be in 5 years. We've reached this far. Well, you want to sell them at higher price, right? Have you ever eaten this, Kawada-san? Yes. At the initial farm, the testing farm, I tried the strawberries. And that at the time, it was $50 per pack. Well, I was shaking, and then I was tasting this 5,000 yen worth of strawberries. It's basically the same variety. Before going into the main topic, for those of you who have eaten Oishi strawberries in the past, can you raise your hands, please? If you have 2 people, we see you raising hands. I'm sure you're very proud of yourself. Well, there's a next generation super small tomatoes available. Have you ever, well, there's some people who have eaten those next generation tomatoes. Okay, you're not getting those tomatoes for taste. But anyway, as promised, those of you sitting at the front row, Koga-san can share the strawberries. Koga-san? Can you share the strawberries to the people sitting in front of the seat? Shall we distribute them? If you can pass it around. How about over there? You can smell well. Well, you cannot buy them even if you pay. It's super sweet, I heard. Shall we also distribute tomatoes as well? This is a very rare tomato. I want to try tomato myself as well, Kawada-san says. It's your first time, right, Kawada-san? Tasting tomato. What do you think? It's very sweet. And it's really nice aroma. It's very tomato taste. It's like it's almost like fruits. It almost tastes like fruits. Well, in terms of the sugar level, it's about the same between tomato and strawberry. It even tastes like cherries or berries. It's like a cherry kind of taste. Shall we move on to the next question? Koga-san, to you. Well, so far we've been talking about the positive side of the story. Well, the question is, do you sell a lot? Is this scalable? Can other companies mimic your business? There are lots of questions I have that I want to be addressed by you. So the premise, number 1, why strawberries? Well, vertical farming in the past been focusing more on the green, so-called the lettuce, but why Oishi focusing on strawberries, Koga-san?
As for the vertical farming, it's been commercial for more than 20 years. And also, this is very specific to the Japanese industry. So Panasonic, Toshiba, they have been cultivating vegetables indoors. And from the technical point of view, lettuce was the only type of vegetable that they can grow. However, in the case of lettuce, the unit price would not be very high. So, however, it incurs a cost. So there was a hype, and they made up a vertical farming system more than hundreds. However, this went into a disillusionment status, and there has been overseas farming, vertical farming, and the sustainability environment in the United States have worsened because of the unstable climate, as well as shortage of the water, as well as pesticide issues. So if you use vertical farming, those issues will be solved. So just like the gasoline was shifted to electricity in the case of automobiles, there has been a vertical farming boom, and at that time I was in the United States. So the same thing can be expected to happen, just like the case we went through in Japan. So there can be a kind of investment into a kind of lettuce or greens case. However, you cannot make profit, so the investors would give up on the business. That was what was expected. But from the point of tens of years, like 30 years, 40 years, in the future, the cost for that vertical farming would be very less expensive. So other companies have been in collapse. However, I needed to insist about the success. So in order to achieve success, what would be the right vegetable that I should select instead of lettuce and greens? And in those areas, the vertical farming just went out in the last year, and out of 10, 6 companies went out, so collapsed. So it's really, we are under the stage of trial of disillusionment right now. So you are an investor on Oishi farm. So there are many hundreds of plants available, or vertical farming systems available in Japan as well as other countries. And Koga-san came to you so that they would like to start their new business in vertical farming. Why did you believe that? Well, at the beginning, I was suspicious. So early stage investors are very connected. So I often receive those kind of cases. So I was, in the case, half suspicious on him. And so, okay, I understand. So I will check it by myself. And I've been discussing with many members. And Warren, the co-founder of us, so he is from Intelligence Go. He was from U.S. Navy. So he has strict under information control. And if you can be, unless you become an investor, they cannot disclose any information. So it was very difficult to make a judgment at that point. So I just asked that I'm going to give you a minimum lot investment. Then they said that they're going to disclose some of the detailed information on that. So we just started with 10 million investment. So it's not that small amount of investment, but just like purchasing a sport car, and just imagine that you went you crashed that car next day. Okay, so just a unit of car can reveal information from Koga-san, right? And also business talk, from the point of business talk, that would be rational. So I made an investment of that level, and the very detailed technology was disclosed. And I am convinced about the level of success. So what was the convincing factors? So you can see that confidence from this chart. Could you explain on that? So why strawberries? What's the best point about the strategy of the strawberries? So the failure of the Japanese vertical farming is because of the focus only on greens. However, what is important is a short profit you can gain from a short period of time. So what type of variant would be okay? What type of plant would generate profit in a short period of time? So rather than reducing the cost of lettuce, but rather we need to pick up a vegetable that would generate profit in a short period of time. So I started firstly to focus on the search of that vegetable from the point of profitability. And also, if you can make an investment and if you can give a success on any of such products, then that will be copied by other vendors or other entrepreneurs. Therefore, we need to protect that. So we need some technological hurdle. And then number 3, so brandability. When you think of 20 years or 30 years later, so when we think of the vertical farming, so just like the electricity, EV, so at the first 10 years, there is a technological difference. However, one day, all the rest of the vendors would catch up with the highest brand. So until that comes, you need to make up a super brand ability. So just like the case of strawberry, Amao has the very high brand of image of strawberry. Even after the other brands emerge, it's very hard to eliminate the brand of Amao. Therefore, we need to build up a brand image before we reach that saturation stage. So in that, from the point of the brand building, strawberry will be the right choice. So you are not starting just because you want to sell strawberries to the rich people. However, so in natural, in order to achieve this appropriate stage in the vertical farming system in the future, we just decided to select strawberry from this background. And in addition to that, I tend to focus on the startup early stage investment and whether it would be feasible in the market or not. So you see, those are all the factors they always pay attention to. Then when it comes to the needs of that, we never know about. However, when it comes to strawberries, so in the United States, the strawberries are cultivated on West Coast. So the New York strawberries in New York are usually not soft, and these because they can be preserved for some days because it takes some days for the logistics. However, if it was grown in Manhattan area, it's very close to New York. So the transportation does not take days. Right after the cultivation or harvesting, it can be sold. So that means there is very few business risk. It's just like water. Well, no. It's not water because you do not have to eat strawberry every day. So even when you make up strawberries round the clock, it's a premium strawberry. So it's not just like a Model S of Prius or Tesla. So what about me? So if it's Tesla is sold, and if you can purchase perfectly autonomous mobile in 1 million, maybe you will purchase it. And if you can purchase the strawberries with 300 yen or 400 yen, you would purchase it. So just like the case. So at the beginning, it would take $20,000 at the beginning. However, because gradually the pricing has been reduced and the market was expanded. So when in the strawberry market, there is a 5 trillion yen market. So we would like to reduce the pricing as much as possible. However, at the beginning, we started from the top 10%. So that top 10% market size is $5 million. So 5 billion yen. So I started to start with that. So when it comes to fruits, so Japanese fruits are very delicious. And in the case of overseas markets, as for the high-class fruit brand like Senbikia in Japan, it is very restricted in the overseas market. But if those U.S. strawberry would be permeated with less reduced pricing, that would also change the market dramatically. And that's one aspect that investors are also expecting on. Okay, thank you very much. Let me move on to the next question. How did you start growing strawberries? So, of course, the Japanese companies were waiting for a company that would be very successful in the overseas market. However, many of the Japanese companies had been struggling. Very few companies can become Sony and Toyota. So how were you able to succeed in the American market?
戦略はもう
I had a strategy from the beginning, and what I wanted to achieve was to make up a kind of vertical farming system in the United States. So, of course, I received a lot of advice from those who experienced this kind of vertical farming, and I imported LED as well as those boards from Japan. So, I myself, as well as another founder, and also there is an intern guy. So, with the 3 members, I started from scratch. So, one by one. So because this is Japanese voltage, so I need to cut all the wires or cables, and also socket. The type of the socket is also different. In the United States, I started to learn how we need to connect those cabling. You're not an engineer. No, not at all. And also his is also different. So you are all from literature background. However, you started to make up a factory. Right. There are hundreds of LEDs, and the engineer went into my house and he said that you can make it with only one driver. However, I actually connected each of the LED one by one at the beginning. Yeah, just like the case I started. So in the research center, we have been also doing a lot of things. So I think it was exciting in a sense. But I can never expect that strawberries will be completed from this theme. So it's more like a textbook or like a design, but do you have that kind of design drawing and so on? So I asked some questions to those who have experience and started to find out what's the right way.
ありましたね。はい。
And you were saying that strawberries for a long time cannot be achieved via vertical farming. People failed a lot with this vision. How come you were successful of offering strawberry at vertical farming facility? Well, I'm a liberal arts guy. I'm not a farmer. I'm not an engineer. Well, Elon Musk talks about first principle. Well, bee fly around in nature. If you do something about it, I'm sure bee could fly indoor. That's my assumption, meaning that you can do the pollination inside the vertical farming facility. Yes. So what I did was analyze the outdoor environment, compare the difference between indoor and outdoor one by one, just so that we know how bee can fly indoor. That's the R&D process that we went through a year and 2. And then pollination level is very important. With the strawberry farmers, it's usually the success rate is 70%, meaning that 7 out of 10 flowers needs to go through a successful pollination. But in our case, we went through a logical analysis. Well, we have John here with us. Well, he serves as a CFO, but he also led this initiative. The question was, how can we optimize the number of bees every day? Based upon the data we have, based upon the database, we built an algorithm. And also the robots you saw, they collected the data every day. We can just increase the number of bees this day, that day. We can just do this 24/7, and we were able to hit a successful rate of 95%, meaning that we can have a higher production rate compared to the other conventional farmers. So non-farmers went through a very mundane question every day, which became a success. So what was the most important factor for successful pollination? I cannot share that with you, unfortunately. So can I pay like a amount worth of the Mercedes-Benz to get that secret? I don't really remember. Well, they showed me lots of real hardwares. What was the most convincing thing for you, Kawada-san? Well, as I said, no business risk. That resonated a lot. And another thing, well, it's like an accumulation of technology that achieved this kind of a business, which made sense to me. And this was built from scratch. And $50 a pack, which was amazingly expensive. How did you come up with that? We spent about 2 years, and we were able to produce strawberries. But we were not too successful in terms of the pollination. And it was more like a handmade. It's like a very manual work. We just bought lots of Japanese cosmetic brush, and try to pollinate manually using the Japanese brush. Well, it was supposed to be done by bees, but then it's not possible from the beginning. So we just handpicked those that needs pollination. So sometimes it's like a 5-pack a day. That was the production level at the very beginning. So this is the very precious strawberries, and we were thinking of how to build a strong brand, and we came up with this $50. It's like to offer to a Michelin restaurants, or only the celebrities can enjoy just $50 a pack strawberries. That's how we started out. So what was the reaction of these early adopters in the US? Well, we are blessed with strawberries in Japan, right? Super sweet strawberries in Japan. And how about in US? These people are so used to the sour strawberries. Are they very impressed, or are they like moderately impressed? It depends on the persons. But the first thing, Chef Stable, Manhattan 3-star restaurant chef, was very touched, and he said that bring in this strawberries from tomorrow. He was very impressed, as you can see from these photos. Well, they charge like $1,000 like course food per night, and then at the end of the course, our strawberries untouched served to the clients. So this gave us a very big confidence. So it is a very unique people recognize this as a unique product. So celebrities, musician, they buy like the entire packs, right? You cannot mention the name, right? No, we cannot. Well, no delivery person back then, so I myself drove and then brought those strawberries to them, the celebrities. Well, that's a nice story to hear. But actually back then, myself, I was in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and SoftBank Vision Fund was my responsibility at that time. And like 1 million yen worth of these, like plenty was there back then. Air Farm, Burberry, all these startups were there back then. And my assumption would be, Japan Oishi sounds great. It's like a good deal. If I pay like 10 billion yen, well, early stage, I have to go back. Well, maybe we can beat them if we can spend more, invest more to the other startups. So-called there are lots of unicorn vertical farming companies, but why not? Well, everyone was trying to do the same back then, but their original vision was the lettuce. They wanted to make lettuce profitable. That was their milestone, and that's how they got the money. And meaning that for the cost reduction, they needed the 10 billion yen for the cost reduction, automation. So strawberries was their side product, whereas us, 100% money focus went into the strawberries. And also big players. 2-3 people getting some money. Well, we cannot be beaten by that. So Mr. Son was struggling with this losing vertical farming business, whereas you are quite successful with this investment. I wouldn't say that far. But anyway, this is something like you hear common. There are lots of booms, lots of investment happening, and people lose. And during that time, the star comes out. That happens. Like search engine is a good example of that. So you were, instead of using a chemical, the cosmetic brush, well, on this year 2, we were combining the brush with the bee, and then year 4, year 3, finally we were able to improve the precision level, and year 4, year 5, we were able to hit the successful rates that we're enjoying right now. Do you have a patent? I don't know how far we can protect with the patents. It's a black box know-how right now. I see. Thank you. Let's move on. Koga-san, the vertical farming, you say that it's like a 200 trillion yen big new industry. That's what you always say. The question has been, well, it's a huge opportunity for Japanese companies trying to find a new business. Is it really true? That's my next question. Koga-san, Japanese companies offer very strong components used by vertical farming. Can you go through this? Well, vertical farming has a foundation such as greenhouse farming. In extension to greenhouse gardening or farming, we have a vertical farming. And also LED robotics all combined together. It's like a combined together to create a vertical farming. Greenhouse technologies, globally speaking, Japan, Holland, South Korea, Israel, they have few. But Japan, Russia, China, they don't have such technologies available. So what they do is they go through outdoor farming and they use the solar, the sun to produce the crops. So there is a huge difference where Japan, Holland, and Israel, we have advantage. AC, LED, all these engineering technology. I'm sure there are some strong technology companies in the US, but as you can see, this is one of the strengths we have in Japan. So we just happen to have both strengths on the technology side as well as the farming side. And we also have like great melon, tomato, and strawberry varieties. We have all these best of the best varieties. We're the only country, Japan, that have 3 factors all available. Well, back then where there's no term of sustainability, Japan's been working on these areas. And what's the difference between this and software? When you invest, it's not that easy to catch up. You need lots of time and money for R&D. In order to develop strawberry recipes, well, it's going to take like 5-6 months to go through a harvesting, and then one cycle will require 1 year. So no matter how much of interest the other country has in trying to mimic this, if they spend like 10 billion or 100 billion of yen, reaching what we are doing in 1 year is not physically possible. So Japan has lots of the leverage, so we should take advantage of that. And it's not just us alone, but by partnering with other companies to go through an open innovation to make this a package so that we can have the latest technology being leveraged here.
Well, this is very realistic. Sounds very realistic. So for long years, so you have been trying to make up a new industry, a new company, and for one of the DNA founders, how do you think his speech is very convincing? 2 points. So the company which is in charge of the operation has the advanced technology, and if they merge that company and make up a wonderful system, so that type of company is required. So the company is to be in operation. So when it comes to bullet train Shinkansen, at that timing the JR company was manufacturing Shinkansen, and under that Hitachi as well as Kawasaki Heavy Industries as well as Japanese Auto. So those manufacturers are also involved, and all of those are integrated, and it was integrated by JR, or at that timing it was National Railway. And so as for the operating company who integrate all of the companies under would be the one that would take a lead. And if they have the new technology, then the integration would be possible, and that would be one of the winners in the market. So as for the robotics as well as technology, so each company for each of the technological area, by doing some new project like the case of a bullet train, some significant meaningful technological development would be accelerated. And the second point, as I mentioned, I love mechanical engineering. So hardware times startup risk management, that has very rare so far. In the area of IT, there has been a lot of such combinations available, but in other areas, because there is a loan from banks, therefore risk management was very stringent. So in the case of venture capital, so that in the case of Japanese companies, so enterprise business are just trying just a part of their business away from core business. That was the case. However, in the 21st century, such kind of real technology would be also one of the targets for the risk management. So in order to collect money for real tech, so but this is wonderful, and we would like to investment it. So that's one fraction. And some say that, well, don't focus on such a tiny thing. Just keep on doing software. So who will be the biggest person who understands very well, and who will be the type of person who never understand that value? Those who understood would be first to be Kawada-san, definitely. And those who did not understand the value, I still have something in myself. So I went to MA in Berkeley, so UC Berkeley, so there are many people, but it's a kind of startup company for entrepreneurs. So I thought that when I said that I'm going to make up a company, I thought that everybody would support it. And I took the course of the most evaluated professor in the area of entrepreneurship. And I really admired that professor. So I focused on that. And I tried to call all the courses from him, and I talked about his strategy, but the professor said, never do it, you will definitely fail it. That was what I was told. At that timing, so IT, SaaS, they never made investment on such businesses. And at the timing, so I know the people from Silicon Valley, so I will introduce anybody from Silicon Valley if you like. So just expect on that, right on that. But he didn't give me any introduction for me, because I understand that nobody is going to invest on. So that's what the professor said. So I was able to reach the status of seeding, and I went to visit Professor Seed A. However, he didn't give me any introduction to such people in the Silicon Valley. So what comment do you give on him? So maybe I will ask him to give a lecture on one day. That's a wonderful student. So Oishi brand made a fundraising of 20 billion yen. So it was already disclosed that Yasukawa-san, that's a robotics company as well as NTT, and also pumping company. So they are basic companies. So there are many companies involved within the funding. So those funders for the Oishi, and also maybe Koga-san should have the strong mindset about the strongest vertical farming, and also NTT should also have their ideas. So could you tell me what you're thinking about right now? Just a secret here. Well, there are many things that I cannot talk right now, but it's a vertical farming, and I understand that this can be the size can be very large in terms of the size of the vertical farming. However, as Kawada-san just mentioned, we cannot just stick to the high brand strawberries. However, rather, we should permeate the market so that we can sell the strawberries with the price of $3 to $4 in the supermarket. However, we've been doing by ourselves, but so if you make up a vertical farming specific air conditioner, I cannot manufacture that kind of air conditioner. So that means we need to ask a specific technology company to make up that kind of thing. So what that means, we need to have a kind of partnership with those companies with some core technologies that we definitely required. And that would also reduce the OPEX. And also that would be beneficial on CAPEX as well. So it will take some time, but I would like to have an open innovation with those companies. So Kawada-san, so you have a monthly meeting with open innovation. So what type of information can you leak on us for us? Well, no leakage, but there are many dreamy people doing many things. At the beginning, when the experiment farming was available, and right after I saw that vertical farming, I thought that it was like a universe. So there isn't a film that shows the space, and I felt that type of dream in the space. So I understand that it was a very advanced, super advanced type of vertical farming, and if many companies are involved in this new space, that would be very fascinating. I cannot say anything because I am not deeply involved with the contents. So the audience here would like to know what you cannot disclose. So let me give you a simple question. So you talked about air conditioning, and there are many Japanese companies, Daiki and so on. So business purpose air conditioning, and also some strawberries seeds for the agriculture, and also some commercial pumps. But there are air conditioning only for the strawberry vertical farming, and also the new variant only for the vertical farming. What's going to be the difference? So the traditional strawberries, just think of the case of Shizuoka Prefecture. So those are the strawberries that were appropriate for the climate of Shizuoka. When you think of precipitation as well as sunshine, this strawberry, the variant of that strawberry, would be suitable for Shizuoka Prefecture. That is why that brand was selected. But in the case of vertical farming, there can be a lot of options available. So if you increase the sunshine time bigger than Shizuoka Prefecture, we can make up the type of strawberry that can be much, much bigger as well as much, much sweeter. Maybe you can find out that we can maybe find out the brand, a new type of brand, although it didn't fit the climate of Shizuoka Prefecture. So the potential of strawberry should be wider by utilizing the vertical farming, such as giving water more by vertical farming. Then we might be able to find out some new type of DNA or new type of strawberries that would not be available, cannot be grown in the Japanese market. Of course, in order to do that, we need some technology to do strawberry vertical farming. So in the greenhouse in Shizuoka Prefecture, the harvesting yield would not be very good. However, if you grow the same brand in our vertical farming, the yield would be twice. So that would be also possible. I see. So Shizuoka and Tochigi, in those prefectures, there is a climate restriction. However, in the vertical farming, you can do whatever you want to do for the growth of that brand. Right. Okay, so let me move on to the next topic. So, are they selling well or not? That's a very fundamental question in business. So, you mentioned there are more than 100 stores that sell your brand of strawberries. And are they selling and are they satisfied with the price? So when we started selling my strawberries, that market did not have a high-class brand of strawberries. So we never knew about the size of the market at all, because it's a new market. And of course, there was a feedback that this is rather expensive. However, the taste itself is completely different from the other strawberries. And once they eat, they gave a feedback that, of course, I cannot purchase every day, but it is definitely delicious. That was the direct comment. So the point is cost reduction. So if we can reduce the pricing as low as the existing strawberries in the United States, of course, because we are confident of the quality and we know about the voice of the customers directly. So the point is, how can we cover this 5 trillion yen pyramid from top to bottom? So the Tesla also started with high class to Model Y, Model 3. So until they reached the Model 3, it took more than 10 years for Tesla. So as an investor, so how long can you wait? How many years can you wait until they reach the status of Model 3 from the point of Tesla?
Well, on that, expanding geographical area like going to Chicago and other regions, I think it's more of a combination of these factors. So just keeping the premium strawberry, going to Dubai and other regions, we don't have to drop our pricing. We can just physically expand the market, right? Yes, I see the point. So geographical area expansion, lots of people gather, people are willing to buy. Mainly you're focusing on the East Coast in New York, but in order for you to expand, if you to sell your Model S, where would that be? Well, West Coast, we haven't reached there yet, so that's a possibility. And at Whole Foods, we have 80 Whole Foods selling strawberries, but they have 420 stores throughout the U.S., so we have to make sure that we distribute. We can look into Middle East or Southeast Asia. well, they already know that Japanese crops are really delicious. They already are educated about Japanese food, so we might be able to reach those markets as well. For example, Singapore, there are like 17 Don Quixote, and Japanese fruits are very popular. How about Singapore? Yes, that's possible. But population is not that big, so whether we're going to focus on Singapore as a next target, we don't know. It's really difficult to manage these because we have to think about the pricing, we have to think about the scalability, expansion. It's not simply about the mass production to reach Model 3 as a business. We can expand horizontally. In terms of our R&D, we can focus on reducing the price so that we can have a good readiness for the market. Like lower pricing strawberries, even though the price is down, can you ensure the sweetness? Well, $10 per pack. In the past, it was $50 in the past. So it's already a Model 3 in a way, right? Yes. If it's a super sweet $5 per pack strawberry available, then if it's a super sour strawberry, $5 per pack, then you sell well, right? What happens to the others? Well, I don't know how to answer that question. Well, it really is up to how the market moves. You do whatever the right for the market. If the quality is high, if the price is good, then, of course, I'm sure the players get replaced. But in terms of Japan, there are lots of delicious strawberries already available, and there's a huge decrease in terms of the shortage of the people, the farmers. So, well, there'll be less and less strawberries available because of the shortage of people. So we're not worried about well, there's already a shortage of people. That's why the cost is going up even in the States. But if you can offer lower price, delicious food, I think it's a win for the consumer. Well, do you know when Model 3 would come out, just roughly speaking? Putting aside whether we will make it available in the market or not. But internally, in terms of reducing the price, Model 3, it's not going to take 10 years. So by 2030, 2035, you're going to have Model 3 coming out to the market. Well, this is a very important message. Well, strawberry Model 3 would come out at certain time period. Just remember this as an important information. Well, no, joking. Just forget about that. Last question. So for you, the visionaries, we have about 5 more minutes. So it seems like it's not about strawberries from an Oishi perspective, right? So how about melon, or how about potatoes, or what's going to be the future for Oishi? Can you talk about that?
So when we think of the significance of agriculture, it should be sustainable, and also this should be renewed as the age goes. So most of the ones that are sold in the supermarket should be done in the vertical farming. That's my dream. So maybe as for that achievement, we would like to start. I'm starting from tomatoes, and later by introducing some other types of vegetables like greens. So in the case of the fruits, there is a showcase for broccoli, tomatoes. They are separate. However, if you go to a supermarket, at that time you see a Oishi farm shelf, and although they might be somewhat expensive, but they are high quality. So I'd like to make up that type of brand. Of course, it will take some tens of years. However, if we can achieve that type of status, that would be wonderful. So this melon, that is based on our research and development. It is not commercially available, but melon is also feasible. So the sugar level is 17 or 18. So just the case, it's around 10,000 yen when it is sold in the Senbikia. So this is also feasible in vertical farming. So if you make strawberries, it will sell as much you make. However, in the case of melon, how much investment will be appropriate? So there is always a trade-off when it comes to investment. So for the timing, you focus on strawberries, right? And you talked about 200 20 billion yen story. So you now focus on the plant, and you gave me pictures of the existing vertical farming space. So what type of plant are you focusing right now or planning to make up right now? So the size would be much, much larger than the existing one, so tens of times of area, and also take advantage of clean energy like solar power. But it's so big as well as sustainable. So in a recent timing, I think I can disclose this information. I'm expecting to hear that. And Kawada-san, as an investment, what is your expectation on Oishi? So it's Japan-made, and also in overseas, it's a startup company that made a success in overseas area. In the area of IT, many of the Japanese companies have been struggling. However, finally, so with the risk money from the Japan, some companies. This is one of the companies who were showing success, who has been already showing the success in the overseas market, and I'm expecting on that. And IT seems to be the starting point. However, for the Japanese enterprise, so realistic type of products are actually the ones that you can sell in the overseas market, and I would like Koga-san to prove on that. So for the audience, so I think audience would like to ask you this question. So Oishi, so it's going to make up a wonderful company, latest in company with strawberries and tomatoes. So what kind of idea would be appropriate to make up to follow the success? Maybe you have a visionary. You are a visionary. So you have experienced the competition with the brand of Oishi. So what's the nice case? So as a concept, so maybe you can take advantage of the technology only available in the Japanese market. And when you think of that, you tend to stick to the Japanese market. But rather, so I try to make up, apply that technology for the overseas market. That was what I tried. So food, as well as the feature industry, as well as contents, they are very strong in the Japanese market. So from the global point of view, what's the strength in the Japanese market? You can pick them up and you can easily screen them. And when it comes from the global point of view, what will be the exciting market? And actually, there is an area of sustainability. So there should be some people who would be doing sustainability, so doing some researchers. So there can be some values generated from this point of view. So there can be some ways to find out. Okay, thank you very much. So the ideas from the companies that would follow the success of Oishi, I'm expecting to see such a company in the very near future. Thank you very much indeed.